Hi guys, thanks for joining me. I'm going to take you through how to apply for a job with Snaplingo, which is the company that employs me. So I'll dive right into it, so it won't be too long. The video won't be too long. So the first thing you need is an accent. You need to get an accent. Like, pick one up if you have to. American, British, or Canadian. Now, a lot of people ask me if they take South African or Australian accents, but I don't think so. I'll just leave it there. I don't think so. You can try email, but I don't think they don't take South African or Canadian accent or Australian accents anymore. Sorry. They do take people with neutral accents. So if you're not a native speaker, English speaker, then they don't mind. They really like the neutral accent. I'd like to think I have a neutral accent, but apparently I have an Irish twang, which is nice because Irish accent is really cool. Anyway, so the accent, you need an accent. The second thing you need is experience. So I do know of a lot of people that started with Snaplingo without experience with children, but it all comes down to how do you interact with children? How are you flexible? You know, it's not a lecture. Literally, you're not lecturing university students. You're teaching very young children in a language. So you need to be very physical, very expressive. You need to know how to, you know what I mean? Like, how old are you? A child might not even know that, and you need to go, how old are you? You know, so you, believe me, it gets a bit ridiculous. You make a big fool all yourself when you're teaching Chinese kids English, or any children for that matter. I'm a teacher, I should know. So they just are looking for that kind of vibe from their teachers. And if you have that, you don't actually really need experience. But any experience you have will help. If you're a teacher yourself, even if you teach just music, or you don't need to be a language teacher, as long as you know how to handle kids. If you've had experience volunteering, that's very handy, so use that in your application. The third one is a TEFL course. You'll need to get yourself a TEFL course. If you are not qualified, TEFL is basically teaching English as a foreign language. So if you type into Google TEFL courses, there's loads, thousands out there, and they're quite cheap. You could get one, well, it depends on which one you get. They're normally quite on the high side, maybe about between 2 and 500, depending on where you get it, but you also get them for really, really great discounted rates. I got mine at €20 from using a Groupon voucher, so check out Groupon, that's very good, and any online deal companies, they're really good for them as well. So if you don't have one, get yourself one. If you are in the middle of one, then you can apply too. They will consider you, and if you have one already, then you're good to go. So the fourth one is internet connection. So if your internet connection is not fast enough or reliable, when you do get the job, they will actually terminate your employment. If your internet cuts out, if there's constant interruptions. Once off is fine, twice is okay, but it can't happen often, you know? So get your internet connection sorted. I am with 3, they're not great for mobile internet. So I had to get broadband from Air, and they're great. So if you're in Ireland or the UK or anywhere that gets Air, you're good. Get Air and they're good. I can definitely recommend them. And the best thing is I use them for my TV, I use them for my phone internet, and they're great. Like, it's an all-rounder really. The last thing you need to know is you need to be available 8 hours a week minimum. Okay, so if you have just 2 hours, you can't just work 2 hours, you can't just work 3 hours here and there. You have to have a standard minimum of 8 hours available a week. Okay, you can adjust that higher if you want to. You can tell them I want to work full-time, 30, 32 hours. That's fine, you'll eventually get there, but minimum to begin with is 8 hours. That makes sense. Another tip that I could have for you is if you work on the weekend, there's more need for the weekend than weekdays. I work weekdays only because I like to travel and go on adventures on the weekend, so I only work weekdays, but lots of people work on the weekend, and there's a lot more work on the weekend, so you can fill up your weekends and then choose which days in the week you are off. You know what I mean? So those are the 8 suggestions, tips that I have for you, what you need to put into your CV, into your application to Snaplingo. I have put the email address to which to send your application to. The most important thing here, guys, doesn't matter how much experience you have, doesn't matter how many TEFL courses you've done, you need to put a recommender. Okay, so it's general knowledge around the ESL online community that companies look at CVs or applications that have been recommended by someone. So the best tip I can give you today is use my name. So just put Kelea on your name, that I have been recommended by Kelea. I do get paid for it. Full disclosure, I get paid for every hired recommendation, but your application stands a much higher chance. To be honest, if you have all these 8 things and you're great, you will get hired. If you know you're good with children, you will get hired. Okay, so the process is quite quick with Snaplingo. I emailed them within a few days, 1 or 2 days, they responded to me. I got my interview maybe a few days after they responded, and I did my demo 2 days after my interview, and I started a week after that. The only reason I started a little bit later was because there was Chinese New Year's, and that delayed things a little bit. Okay, so that's my advice for you guys. If you have any questions, just leave a comment or send me a message or slide into my DM. Okay guys, I will see you in the next video. Next time I'll be talking about how to get an interview with Snaplingo. Okay, no, how to pass an interview, how to ace your interview with Snaplingo. See you next time. Bye.